Hello and welcome to a third episode of Author's Feet, a literary program focusing on contemporary writers. As we follow their journeys to authorship, my name is Empress Ciku Mwaniki and I'm your host. Our guest today is Eric Rugara, thereafter referred to as Miyamoto Muswahili. We shall find out why it's Japanese. Karibu sana. I feel like I should tell you Yokoso Miyamoto instead of Karibu Eric.
Arigato. Thank you so much.
What do you say after that?
I don't know.
All right, then we'll continue. Karibu sana to our program.
Yes.
Eric is an author. And just this year, him and 8 other Kenyan writers, they got together and compiled short stories, Broken Rhythms. Why Miyamoto? What is Miyamoto Muswahili?
Miyamoto, I just wanted to have a pen name for my online presence. Mm-hmm. So Miyamoto is the name of a Japanese samurai from the 16th century. His name is Miyamoto Musashi. So that's where Miyamoto comes from. Muswahili comes from a debate we once had online about languages, specifically the effect of having the English language here in Kenya, which is a colonial language, and the effect of it still dominating today, and the methods that are used to this day in our schools and in our institutions to maintain the power and hegemony of the English language. So somebody challenged me that it's very cute for me to be bashing the English language in English. So I decided to do it in Kiswahili. But my Kiswahili was terrible. Mm-hmm. So I decided to call myself Muswahili instead of Mswahili.
Muswahili.
Yes.
Yet you're writing in English. We have Broken Rhythms. What are Broken Rhythms? Why this title? It's a very interesting title.
Broken Rhythm is a title we came up with based on, think about it in terms of music. Mm-hmm. Music or rhythm is when things are flowing. One step leads to the other. There's a sequence, 2, 4, 6, 8, you can guess next, 10, 12. Mm-hmm. So if you break that, you have 2, 4, 6, then you go to 9 instead of 8. Or then you go to 12 instead of, to 13 instead of 10. Mm-hmm. So the rhythm has been broken, it has changed, it has been disrupted.
So is this about like broken hearts or lives that are not going according to plans?
Yeah, it's about things getting disrupted. You thought things were going this way, then they go.
Because it's actually, I've read this book. This book, and it's got very amazing writers there, and you being one of them, by the way. I'm very impressed. But it's really sad. It's dark.
Well,
it's quite dark, and I kept thinking, I wish I could find some happy stories.
That was not intentional.
No.
Let me tell you, when we met, actually this book came out last year. So when we met, we started working on it in last year was 2021.
Right.
We started working on it in 2020 September. That's the day we met. And on the day we met and decided what we wanted to write about, we wanted to write about fast times. So fast times. Mm-hmm. And our thought was that these would be very nice, happy stories about the first time you kissed a girl, the first time.
So it was first time anything.
First time anything.
No
that was just the thing we told ourselves. But after we wrote the stories and we were reviewing them, we were like, why are all these stories not happy.
Absolutely. None.
So I was thinking about it. I was trying to analyze, and we realized that perhaps this could be because of the time we wrote these stories.
COVID time.
Yeah, this was during the COVID time. So this is just us looking back. We don't know. You never know.
You did make a good attempt at writing a love story, but then again, it reached a point and poof, there were no happy beginnings.
It also was a broken rhythm.
It was a very extremely broken rhythm. I think you broke my heart at that time because I thought, oh, this could work. But then I'm a hopeless romantic, so ignore me. So apart from broken rhythms, are you reading a Kenyan book? What are you reading right now?
Right now, I have. I guess these days I'm a polygamous writer. Reader.
Writer as well.
Yes. So I'm reading a book called Dedan Kimathi Speaks.
Right.
By Maina wa Kenyati. Which is
he's a legend, Maina himself.
Yeah, which is like a collection of documents written by Dedan Kimathi and other Mau members during that time.
Okay.
So it's like an archive. Okay. The other book I'm reading is 12 More Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson, the professor. Yeah.
Oh, heavy stuff. But
I've also today bought a book by a Kenyan group. Yeah. Another group of writers.
Is that a new thing?
Yeah,
it's like a new thing, like because I'm seeing a lot of short stories, compilations of different.
I think the first guys. I don't know if they were the first guys.
Yeah.
Because all of us probably started before. Like we started. I saw them say that they started working on it 3 years ago.
Yeah.
We also started working on it a while back. But the first ones to publish, I think, would be. The ones who did When a Stranger Calls.
With the Ndugu beside.
Yes. They were the first ones to publish.
Yeah.
I think we were probably like the second ones.
What drove you into that? Is it financial? Is it cheaper to do that? Is it like you're feeding off each other's fame, or is it like support? There has to be a reason why this is kind of gaining.
I think somebody should analyze that. Probably I will at some point.
Yeah.
But off the top of my head, I would think, you see, a lot of these things are coming from offline.
Yeah.
I mean, online.
Yeah.
It's writers on Facebook.
Yeah.
Actually, it's Facebook, right?
Yeah.
So it's writers on Facebook, and maybe this is a way for them to create a community. Maybe
like feed on each other's and everything.
And bring together what they have together and work together. Because, you know, there was a time when writers used to be introduced to the literary world through collective like Kwani, getting published here and there. But with the online space, you find that you might start online. You might start meeting writers online before you meet them offline. So
Did you do that? Did you guys meet online? Among the people, the list here, is there somebody you knew before you started writing?
I actually met 3 of them on the same day in 2018 at a writer's workshop.
Oh, nice.
So I met 3 at a writer's workshop. I met a few others through, there was this collective we had created.
Okay.
Back in 2019, we used to do meetups. So we used to do meetups, but now these were meetups of people we knew online.
Okay.
Yeah, so it started online, then we started doing meetups.
Is it working? Like, would it have been better? I'm not sure in what way, actually. But do you think that it's more advantageous to get into these, or do you think it's better to own your work? Like, do you wish you had done this, your first publication alone?
No, I don't.
You don't?
Yeah.
Why is that?
For me personally, I ascribe to a theory, well, not a theory, a strategy called fire bullets before you fire cannonballs. So this is like a management principle. And the basic idea of this is that you start with a low cost attempt to do something, during which you will learn very fast, and you will not be risking so much, but you will still be learning. And then you take those lessons and now go and invest them in something bigger.
Impressive.
Yeah.
I wish some of us had known those lessons.
Yeah, because I learned a lot from this actually.
Yeah, because at this point then it means that there will hardly be any books left unsold, and there is more publicity or... So what do you think is the advantage of this, apart from what you've just told us about, like using the bullets before the cannons? Why would you advise the upcoming writers to go this way?
Well, for me, I'm a big believer in if you want to go far, go with many people, as opposed to going by yourself. From history, if you go and check history, there has never been, okay, maybe there has been, but there almost has never been somebody who was great at something who emerged in isolation. Never. You always have to be part of a certain environment.
Right.
Yeah. Go to Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley is an environment. Hollywood is an environment. All the actors in the world are going to Hollywood. You go to in the 15th century, the city of Florence was full of artists, full of painters. And out of that one city, you get two great painters.
He's a lover of 15th century Florence.
Michelangelo, what's his name? Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci. Same city.
All from at the same time, was it that they were at the same time?
Same city,
I don't want us
same
to
time.
digress to...
So the same philosophy would come into this. If you are just working by yourself and you're trying to come up in a country which people say don't read, or they used to say that back in the day. I
was going to ask you, do you think we read?
Yes, these days we do.
We do, yeah? I must say there's some really deep, seriously deep stories here.
Yes. I wrote a book or a novella, and I thought of publishing it. And at that time, I didn't have the confidence to want to publish it completely. I wanted to just publish like an ebook. But then that's the day we met with Tom, who is in that book.
Mwiraria.
Yeah, Tom Mwiraria. So Tom Mwiraria gave me the confidence. He told me, you're a very good writer. You should not do this halfway. You should not do this and give it away for free. You should have faith in it. And when he said that, I was quite a bit resistant because there was already my pattern of thinking, which was set. But after talking, I said, you're right, I'm going to publish this book. Yes. But then I looked at what I had online at that time.
You had a blog at that time?
Yeah, I had a blog. Actually, I used to post my stories on the blog.
Okay.
So when he told me that it's not right for somebody with talent like me and these very good stories to be putting them out there for free, that very night, I decided to delete that blog.
I hope you copied the story first.
No, well, the stories were in Word documents.
Okay.
So I deleted the blog. Actually, most of those stories are going to be, a lot of those stories are going to be in a book, which I'm publishing soon.
Okay.
My book.
On your own?
On my own.
Okay.
And the novella I'm talking about, I had started writing it on that blog. I had just started, like I was growing through I had this thing where I used to write something and publish it on the blog every week. So I had started this novella and it started becoming better. And I thought, wow, this novella is good.
And people used to follow it? Or
very few people. Very few people.
Blogs are not easy to market, by the way.
Yeah, so. Very few people. But now that Tom had told me this, I thought this novella, I should actually do it as a book. So now when I was assessing my online brand, first of all, I thought, nobody knows me, or very few people know me. Secondly, I have very little engagement. So I would do a post online and maybe get 5 likes. 0 comments, 1 comment. If I got 10 likes, I thought
that was a good day.
I thought that was viral. Actually, for me, viral was anything from 15 likes going up.
Yeah.
And if it got 4 comments, wow, that was a very good day.
Yet, you've managed to build this what do you call it? Is it followership or followership?
Followership,
yeah. Followership of a very vibrant, group of people who you manage to get to comment over and over. Yet, it is not silly stuff. You've got all these serious things going on your Nini.
Yeah.
How did you get to that from the 5 likes to this page where most of us have to come and check like on a daily basis?
Yeah, so that's what I was talking about, the machine, right? So after I assessed, I realized my machine, my infrastructure, which is the word I like, the infrastructure I had for my career as a writer was non-functional, or it was not well built. So yes, I had worked on my skill, I had worked on my talent, I had crafted those stories, I knew how to write very good stories, crafted those stories, but I would publish these stories, and who would read them? There would be silence, and then probably they would not last because they wouldn't be read, and if it's not read, does it exist?
Yeah.
So originally I used to have this mentality that my content is serious, I shouldn't be begging, or not begging, I shouldn't be lowering myself. And I used to see people doing memes and get so much engagement.
Oh yes.
I was like,
it's very tempting to start doing the memes because it brings in traffic.
Well, I actually started doing the memes.
Oh, you did, yeah? I missed that moment.
No, you were there.
Was I?
I still do them to this day. I still post
Not
memes.
the silly memes though.
No, I post funny things.
Funny is okay.
Those are memes to me. So what I learned was that I started observing what it is that makes people get engaged online. So the breakthrough for me was one day when I posted something like, I hate avocados. I was lying. But to my surprise, it got wild engagement. I was like, wow, all these engagement because I said...
And all I needed was an avocado.
Oh, because I said I hate avocados. Yeah, so I started developing it. And I also started doing this thing where if I write one post about avocados, the next post will also be about avocados. So I started doing like a series. I started with writing about writing, that is. So that gives people an idea that you are an authority in that area. So that was how I grew, by becoming an authority in one area. Then after I see that people have accepted me as an authority in that area, I would expand and now I start doing book reviews. Okay, I'm an authority there. Then I started doing music, song reviews. People accepted that. I started doing philosophy. Until now, at some point, I asked people, what should I write about? And that's when I gauged the responses. And I saw people are telling me to write about gender, write about science.
From now, like where would you see yourself in about 5 years?
I have actually 2 books.
2 books. Short stories, or do we have...
So there is now the short stories, which I wrote. Short stories by Miyamoto Muswahili, 2016 to 2022. And then there is probably at the beginning of the next year.
That's when should be expecting it, okay.
And then there's the novella I was talking about, which I wrote in 2019. But I have really fleshed it out.
Okay.
By the time I'm still fleshing it out.
Okay.
By the time I'm done with it, it will be like twice what it was before. I would say that I have plans, or I have goals to now go beyond writing.
To what?
Yeah.
You're already an editor, by the way. So...
Yes, I'm already an editor. So this year, like around, when was it? Earlier this year, I decided that I looked at, let's say, somebody like Chimamanda. Chimamanda is known as a writer, but she's also known as a speaker. So a lot of people know Chimamanda because of her TED Talk.
True.
The Danger of a Single Story. So I looked at that and I saw that there are two types of writers. There are writers who can speak and there are writers who can't speak. There are writers who can explain themselves and there are writers who can't explain what they do. So I already can explain, but in writing. So I thought the next thing I should do is learn how to speak. Earlier this year, so I started practicing. So like every morning I would record myself.
You're doing well.
Yes. If I had not done that, I would not be doing well right now. But I was very lucky. I applied for TEDx. A TEDx. So I got to go to a TEDx workshop.
What's a TEDx? Maybe
TEDx has to do with TED Talks. Yeah, TED Talks. You know TED.
I know TED Talk.
Yeah, so the TEDx is like a local version of a TED Talk. So like they have regional versions. There's like the major TED Talks and then there's the regional. So there's TEDx in Nairobi at State House Road. So earlier, like let's say in August, I got to go to a TEDx public speaking workshop where we got trained on speaking and all that. Then the next week we did a book reading for Broken Rhythm. So I got to do an impromptu speech. And I got to do that speech where I had not planned it. I was, it was just a moment where now I have to go and speak and I'm up there and I have to make it up on the fly, and I did.
It worked, yeah?
It worked.
So and you'd like to go like a writer who talks as well?
Yeah, I'd like to give talks.
Reaching out to the younger writers, because that's the other thing I wanted to ask. I know you've mentioned Tom Wiraya quite favorably. Have you found the older generation any helpful?
Yes. I would say so, yes. Back in 2012, actually, I decided to be a writer in 2012. So back in, I think that was one of your questions. Back in 2012, there was, you know Alexander Nderito, right?
Alex, yes. Awesome guy.
So in 2012, he published a research document called Changing Kenya's Literary Landscape. And I don't remember how. That's 10 years ago. I don't remember how, but I chanced to read it. It was a PDF. And it was like 100 pages or something. And after I read it, I was inspired and I wrote to him. I emailed him actually because his email was there. So I emailed him. I did that. He gave me some encouragement, said the description is good and all that. So between 2012 and 2017, I did not get into the literary world. That was my time for me to focus on building my craft. Another one would be Richard Odur, CC Africa. He's the founder of CC Africa. When he formed CC Africa, he reached out to me and asked me to provide some writing, which I did. And since then, I think I've published like 4 things with them.
Amazing.
Which is very good because it gives me a portfolio. So that should answer your question. Those are the older.
So you cannot complain that you've had support.
Yes.
I have my signed copy of the book Broken Rhythm. I loved it. The stories they might be the sad side of life, but they're actually quite interesting and thought-provoking. The writing style I thought was amazing. And before I forget, the book is available at Nuria.
Yes.
For how much?
1,000 shillings.
1,000 shillings. It's worth every one of those shillings. So, Eric, your story.
You can also get it at Somanami.
Somanami is also there, yeah?
Somanami Bookshop. Which is at the greenhouse.
Could you read for us? What's your favorite passage or pick a passage?
So I read this part.
Which part is that?
On page 31 at the bottom.
All right.
You never think you're going to be one of those people who fall head over heels in love. That happens to other people, not you. Until it happened to me and I lost focus. It didn't happen all at once. It was gradual. Then I read something, uko chini. After she left me, I called her often, but I never asked her why she stole my things. I told her I still loved her, that I was willing to give it another shot. One day she told me she had moved on. Sent me a photo on WhatsApp to prove it. in which she was embracing a fat guy, her new man. I stopped calling her.
Thank you. There's a lot more in this book, and it's quite interesting. And there's no hating of fat people, by the way. That was just one line. Yeah, go get your copy. It's well worth every shilling. And yeah, do you have a favorite story in here? Not yours. You're
Yes.
not. Which one is that?
I have two favorite stories. The first story.
Oh, that was deep, by the way.
The first story.
Yeah, that was deep.
The first story and the last story. They are,
The Company of Crickets by Imani Wamboi.
yes.
And then Don't Let the Man Die.
Yes, both stories are about trauma.
Yeah, and very...
And I think they form like a very good, you know how in life there are two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
So it's trauma, a young child. And it's trauma, an old man.
Yeah.
And I would also like to make note of the last story by Diambo Kauma. That's Don't Let the Man Die. I thought this was a really beautiful and very dark.
And now we come to the end of today's program. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you get to pick more Kenyan books and read and support us and rate us. Thank you, and see you next time.